Alright, guys, Artemis Fowl, we're continuing on with Chapter 8. Holly hovered beneath the portico. Orange shards of light striped the blue. The time stop was breaking up. There were only minutes left before root blue rinsed the whole place. Foley's voice buzzed in her earpiece. Okay, Captain Short, the gold is on the way. Be ready to move. We don't bargain with kidnappers, said Holly. Surprised. What's going on here? Nothing, replied Foley casually. Straightforward. Exchange. The gold goes in, you come out. We send in the missile. Big blue bang, it's all over. Does Fowl know about the biobomb? Yep, knows all about it. Claims he can escape the time field. That's impossible. Correct. But they'll all be killed. Big deal, retorted Foley, and Holly could almost see him shrug. That's what you get when you mess with the people. Holly was torn. There was no doubt that Fowl was a danger to the civilized underworld. Very few tears would be shed over his body. But the girl Juliet, she was an innocent. She deserved a chance. Holly descended to an altitude of 6.5 feet, head height for Butler. The human had congregated in the wreckage that used to be a hallway. There was a disunity between them. The LEP officer could sense it. Holly glared accusingly at Artemis. Have you told them? Artemis returned her stare. Told them what? Yes, Fairy, told us what? Echoed Juliet belligerently, still a bit miffed over the mesmerizing. Don't play dumb, Fowl. You know what I'm talking about. Artemis never could play dumb for very long. Yes, Captain Short, I do. The biobomb. Your concern would be touching if it extended to myself. Nevertheless, do not upset yourself. Everything is proceeding according to plan. According to plan? Gasped Holly, pointing to the devastation surrounding them. What part of the plan? And Butler almost getting killed. All part of the plan? No, Artemis admitted. The troll was a slight blip, but irrelevant to the overall scheme. Holly resisted the urge to punch the pale human again, turning instead to Butler. Listen to reason, for heaven's sake. You cannot escape the time field. It has never been done. Butler's features could have been etched in stone. If Artemis says it can be done, then it can. But your sister, are you willing to risk her life out of loyalty to a felon? Artemis is no felon, miss. He is a genius. Now please remove yourself from my sight line. I'm monitoring the main entrance. Holly buzzed up to 20 feet. You're all crazy, all of you. In 5 minutes, you'll be dust. Do you realize? Artemis sighed. You've had your answer, Captain. Now please, this is a delicate stage in the proceedings. Proceedings? It's a kidnapping, and at least have the guts to call it what it is. Artemis' patience was beginning to fray. Butler, do we have any tranquilizer hypodermics left? The giant manservant nodded, but didn't speak. At that precise moment, if the order came to sedate, he wasn't sure if he would or could. Luckily, Artemis' attention was diverted by activity in the avenue. Ah, it would seem the LEP have capitulated. Butler supervised the delivery. But stay alert. Our fairy friends are not above trickery. You're a fine one to talk, muttered Holly. Butler hurried to the demolished doorway, checking the load and catch on his Sig Sauer 9mm. He was almost grateful for some military activity to distract him from his dilemma. In situations like these, training took over. There was no room for sentiment. A fine haze of dust still hung in the air. Butler squinted through it, into the avenue beyond. The fairy filters rigged over his eyes revealed that there were no warm bodies approaching. There was, however, a large trolley seemingly driving itself up to the front door. It was floating on a cushion of shimmering air. Doubtless Master Artemis would have understood the physics of this machine. All Butler cared about was whether or not he could disable it. The trolley bumped into the first step. Automatic compensator for my foot, snorted Root. Yeah, replied Foley. I'm working on it. It's the ransom, shouted Butler. Artemis tried to quell the excitement rising in his chest. This was not the time to allow emotions to enter the equation. Check for booby traps. Butler stepped cautiously on the porch. Shards of disintegrated gargoyle lay scattered beneath his feet. No hostile seems to be self-propelled. Trolley lurched over the steps. I don't know who's driving this thing, but he could do with a few lessons. Butler bent low to the ground, scanning the trolley's underside. No explosive devices visible. He extracted a sweeper from his pocket, extending the telescopic aerial. No bugs either, nothing detectable at any rate. But what do we have here? Uh-oh, said Foley. It's a camera. Butler reached in, pulling the fish-eye lens out by the cable. Night-night. Nighty-night, gentlemen. In spite of the load it carried, the trolley responded easily to Butler's touch. Gliding across the threshold into the lobby, it stood there humming softly, as though waiting to be unloaded. Now that the moment had come, Artemis was almost afraid to seize it. It was hard to believe that after all these months, his wicked scheme was minutes away from fruition. Of course, these last few minutes were the vital ones, and the most dangerous. Open it, he said at last, surprised at the tremble in his own voice. It was an irresistible instant. Juliet approached tentatively, spangled eyes wide. Even Holly closed the throttle a notch, dropping until her feet brushed the marble tiling. Butler unzipped the black tarpaulin, dragging it back across the cargo. Nobody said a thing. Artemis imagined that somewhere the 1812 overture was playing. The gold sat there, stacked in shining rows. It seemed to have an aurora of warmth, but also an inherent danger. Overture. It seemed to have an aurora of warmth, but also an inherent danger. There were a lot of people willing to die or kill for the unimaginable wealth of this gold could bring. Holly was mesmerized. Fairies have an affinity for minerals. They are of the earth, but gold was their favorite. Its luster allure. They paid, she breathed. I can't believe it. Neither can I, murmured Artemis. Butler, is it real? Butler hefted a bar from the stack. He dug the tip of a throwing knife into the ingot, gouging out a small sliver. It's real, all right, he said, holding the scraping up to the light. This one, at any rate. Good, very good. Begin unloading it, would you? We'll send the trolley back out with Captain Short. Hearing her name dispelled Holly's gold fever. Artemis, give it up. No human has ever succeeded in keeping fairy gold, and they've been trying for centuries. The LEP will do anything to protect their property. Artemis shook his head amused. I've told you. Holly took him by the shoulders. You cannot escape. Don't you understand? The boy returned his gaze coolly. I can escape, Holly. Look at my eyes and tell me that I can't. So she did. Holly Short gazed into her captor's blue-black eyes, and she saw the truth in there, and for a moment she believed it. There's still time, she said desperately. There must be something. I have magic. A crease of annoyance wrinkled the boy's brow. I hate to disappoint you, Captain, but there is absolutely nothing. Artemis paused, his gaze tugged momentarily upstairs to the comforted loft. Perhaps he thought, do I really need all this gold? And was his conscience not needling him, leaching some of the sweetness from his victory? He shook himself. Stick to the plan, no emotions. Artemis felt a familiar hand on his shoulder. Everything all right? Yes, Butler. Keep unloading. Get Julia to help. I need to talk to Captain Short. We're going to stop there. Love you guys.